Good morning. This is the soul of your money, and it is Sunday at sunrise, and we're having Bible-based money suggestions, money moves, and inspiration. I'm Bryan, the host and creator of AfroEconomics, a strategic financial management program developed for the advancement of Black wealth in America and abroad. Today's discussion, from an entrepreneur's perspective, you can imagine the motivation, the desire to get closer and closer to God with every growing year of my business. So today's topic is about success and finding your purpose. Thank you to everyone who is participating in the webinar that went to AfroEconomics.com and you are participating. Please make sure you ask me any questions as we go along on this discussion about success and finding your purpose. I must share that I started in this business working in corporate America as a stockbroker. And after some years in corporate America as a stockbroker, I decided, I really can't fairly say that I decided, because truly God decided that for me. But I made the decision to follow God's guidance because I was in church. That's how powerful a movement it was. And a brother that I did not know, a man at least twice my age, walked up and said, have you ever thought about starting your own business? And I had, but it was so powerful. And it wasn't like, it was my high school church that I just went back to a church in Petersburg, Virginia, just visiting. And I said, I was just there. And I didn't even know that I was doing some television at the time, and I'm working for a firm and visiting and coming into a television station and giving it financial advice like I do now as the owner of my own financial service firm. But back then, I was representing that company as an advisor for them. So he said, have you ever thought about starting your own business? But up until that point, it never seemed real to me. And he said, I want you to meet someone. And he just took me and he said, let's meet. And he introduced me to a man that had a financial service firm, but did not have the licenses on the level that I had. So it was interesting. And I said to myself, wow, it's possible. And I started just praying about it. And finally, I just felt it was time for me to move forward. Not that there was everything, not that money was straight and everything was great and everything was fabulous. No, it wasn't like that. One time, call me, so I'll tell you my story. But no, it wasn't that everything was perfect. It was just that success in living your dream is a common desire, that everyone wants to be successful. I mean, if you're blessed to still be alive and have that desire. Now, I have seen people who have been through things and have allowed the world to drag that out of them. But generally, everyone wants to be successful. And even since the beginning, if you look in the Word, in the Bible, which is our manual for instruction, that I love that Miles Monroe talks about, like, that every product comes out with an owner's manual. And then I don't know if you know about Miles Monroe, but he has passed on. He was killed in an airplane accident. But I love, the way that he preaches the Word, and he talks about the Bible is our manual of how God manufactured us. So not only cars have an owner's manual. So it is our manual of instruction for creating that life of peace and success. Look at Genesis chapter 39, verse 2-6. It says, the Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered and he lived in the house of the Egyptians, of his Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes, meaning Joseph found favor in his master's eyes and became his master's attendant. Potiphar put Joseph in charge of his household, and he entrusted to his care everything he owned. From the time he put Joseph in charge of his household and all that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord was on everything that the master did, both in the house and in the field. So the master left everything that he had in Joseph's care. With Joseph in charge, he did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. Now, Joseph was well built and handsome. Interesting that that's included. Meaning, look, that final principle of AfroEconomics is included there. Black health and Black wealth. We have to take care of ourselves and our health, as Joseph did. But it just shows how that it was important for that master, and I think of that master, if you think about it, like they didn't have corporations. So we can think of Joseph worked for this particular business, and then the business made him, Joseph, a manager or the chief executive officer for that business that was owned by Potiphar. But if you really think about it that way, that's during those times that to have that opportunity that Joseph had is like having a great corporate job opportunity. And then he inherited the business. He said he left everything in Joseph's care. But Joseph did such a good job. And most importantly, Joseph was successful because of his relationship with God. And I often find myself telling my clients, thank you for seeing God in me. Because really, we're just not enough. But people have to see God in you in order for them to see the fullness of your blessing. A second point I want to share, that your success is guaranteed. I am confident that God created us knowing exactly what we are capable of achieving. I know that God knows the beginning and the end of everything. So he definitely knows the beginning and the end and the middle for us. So our success should really only be measured by God, not by what you think this world expects of you. Because we can accomplish so much, but without having God in it, you still will not have found your purpose. And I think that that's where the challenge comes in for a lot of people who are working, but they know they're not working in their purpose. So it makes it harder for them to want to just jump up and go to work each day. I had an entrepreneur I was talking to, they were an entrepreneur member of AfroEconomics, and I was talking to them last week, and they were saying, it's very hard. They started a business this year, and they said, I didn't expect it to be this hard. And I was sharing with them, because I'm approaching my 25th year of being away from corporate America and having my own firm. And I was saying that, thank God, every day I jump up. But when I started the firm, it wasn't based on money. It wasn't based on what will make a business successful for the world. It was focused on, I have a responsibility to help these people my way. Unapologetically be the person that God created me to be. If you're not living in your purpose, everything becomes so difficult. So in Psalms chapter 27, verse 2, it says, I cry out to God Most High, to God who will fulfill his purpose for me. And in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 3, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. confidence there, y'all. I mean, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. So if we know that this is what God wants us to do, then that pain of, I'm not sure where I'm headed, will go away, because you'll have so much faith and you'll know that your success is guaranteed. In 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 3, and observe what the Lord your God requires. Walk in obedience to him and keep his decrees and commands, his laws and regulations as written in the laws of Moses. Do this so that you may prosper in all you do and wherever you go. Success is guaranteed. And in Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 7, be blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. That's where our confidence has to come from. That's what I'm really attempting to share here, is that life will be full of challenges as we're seeking God's purpose or living out God's purpose for our life. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. Your confidence is in God. Your confidence, if it's in anything else from God, then you will have doubt. Doubt will haunt you. Will that loan be approved? Or will I pay off that debt? Or will you be able to make payroll? Or will you? Confidence has to come from God. And a third point I want to make is that when we're talking about success and finding our purpose in life, failure, we need to realize that just like success is guaranteed, failure is predictable. There's been failure since the beginning of time. Failure does exist. But see, in Matthew chapter 7, verse 26, everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. So you received the instruction, you heard your purpose, but the failure will get you because of either you may even find that you're successful for a minute, you build this huge structure, but it's not sustainable because it wasn't built on God. It wasn't built on a solid rock. It was built on sand. Everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. So you see, there's so many people who say, oh yeah, that was my idea. Oh, I told them about that. Yeah, they did that because I said. Well, there's no power there. There's absolutely no power there. So you failed and you're blaming it on the fact that someone else took your idea. They took the idea because you didn't act on it. They took the idea because you didn't do the proper paperwork to protect your idea. And then in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 16 through 7, make the most of every chance you get. These are desperate times. Don't live carelessly, unthinkingly. Make sure you understand what the master wants. Make sure you understand what is required of you to be successful and live in your purpose. If not, your success is predictable because you don't know what is expected of you. You didn't seek it out. You didn't require it. Like, you can't become a doctor, a surgeon, without going to school and learning how to be a surgeon. You know, you have to understand what is required of you. Don't live carelessly and unthinkingly, thinking just because you read a book that you've taken care of what is required. No, you have to follow the guidelines of what is required. I have regulations of my business that are required. I have to fulfill those things that are required of me, or you will fail. And a fourth point, God is committed to our success. In Psalms 57, verse 32 says, I cry out to God Most High, to God who fulfills his purpose for me. This is a key in understanding God's purpose for your life. I cry out to God Most High, to God who fulfills his purpose for me. We have to ask him. Don't ask the world. So many children, unfortunately, our young people are choosing careers based on how much money they will make, instead of figuring out what is their purpose, or at least there's no class on it, on just discussing what are you good at, what is your gift, what is your dream. I love, like Steve Harvey mentions, that education is not what's required to be successful. It's understanding your dream. But who gives you that dream? God gives you that dream. So it's basically understanding God's purpose for your life. And if you can get a young person or old person or anyone who can realize what their purpose for life is, they can die right then and be content, because they have lived completely. They have found their purpose. So many people live and die and live a long life of never knowing their purpose. And that's really robbing themselves and God of what he truly deserves, because God is committed to your success. We have to be committed to our success. The word says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." Jeremiah chapter 29, verses 11 through 13. Seek me with all your heart. Seek the answer to your purpose, all your heart. I think that failure comes in because we feel that it's okay to half step, and it's not. And it takes so much energy to give all your heart to something when we live in a world that says it's okay to half step. Don't do that all the time. Or the times that I've been told that, oh my goodness, you're going to do that at 7 a.m. in the morning. I surround myself with people who support me doing this at 7 a.m. in the morning. That's my team. That's your loved one. Surround yourself. Set yourself up, like as in Genesis and the story about Joseph. That master was wise to surround himself with someone with a relationship with God. We are at risk when we don't. Take heed. And the fifth point is our success is good for God. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. In Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. Our success is good for God. We have to find peace in that. And the sixth point, you were born with your purpose. You were born with your purpose, and living in your purpose gives you your guaranteed success. We were born with it. It's not like it's negotiable that, or why you're wondering why that keeps coming back up, or why does this keep happening? I had one time someone approached me, and they were saying about how they needed to get back into a particular job because it was going to help their future. So I'm not even exaggerating. Within a month or so, I received a call saying that they were looking for someone for a particular position that person was looking for. They came looking for her. And she said, well, I just started doing this, and I guess I'm going to stay here because, and I said, but do you realize what's happening here? You just spoke on what you wanted, and God just brought it to you, and you're setting up a criteria on why you can't make it happen because of some sort of a common inconvenience, because but that is so powerful. I mean, it was like thunder in my head that this person spoke to me and told me what they needed in order to pull their purpose, their future, for their success forward. They spoke it. It came to me for them. I called them, hunted them down, said this opportunity is here, and they did not take that opportunity. And I said, you will have to deal with the consequences of not moving forward. And it has played out. In Psalms 139, verse 14 through 15, I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Intricately, yes. I mean, that must be intricately. Yeah, I mean, I say that all the time. Isn't that funny? But when you read it, but look how it's saying that with every detail. Like it's not, and that's very important that we say that, because it's saying with every intricate detail, God knows about you. There's nothing that we can hide from him. He knows everything. It's, because we live in this world where it's like we can always cover up everything. We can do nails, you can do nail polish, we can do lashes, we can do hair, we can do clothes, we can put on all these name brands and everything. But he says God knows every intricate woven detail about us. There's no secret to him. Your frame is not hidden. Yeah, he knows everything. So this is how we can know that our success is so guaranteed, because we are wonderfully made, fearfully made, meaning we need to acknowledge the presence and how important it is for us to have that relationship with God. Indeed. Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers. For whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. That person is like a tree by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. Whatever they do prosper. Amazing. And then number 7, no one knows you better than God. No one knows us better than God. Your success is a result of your decisions in life. And I say that because in Luke chapter 16, verse 10 through 11, Luke chapter 16, whoever can be trusted with very little can be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. So if you have not been trustworthy in handling worthy and worldly wealth, how will you and who will trust you with true riches? Who will trust you with true riches? I mean, that's so real. So if you can be trusted with very little, you can be trusted with much. And too often I hear people say things like, well, JB, I don't have that much, but no, that's not the point. It's about, we have to be a good guardian over everything you get. In 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15, do your best to present yourself to God as one approved, a worker who does not need to be ashamed and who correctly handles the word of truth. Powerful. We are capable of so much more than the limits of this world. Know that your success with God is guaranteed and based on the decisions and that we allow ourselves to make with God in our life completely. And that what we have become, good or bad, is a result of our decisions. In Matthew chapter 16, verses 26 through 27, what good would it be for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? For the Son of Man is going to come in his Father's glory with his angels, and then he will reward each person according to what they have done. Let's live our purpose. I'm going to pray. Dear Lord, your word teaches that it is acceptable to us to ask for a successful, blessed, and peaceful life. Dear God, expand our borders and allow us to find prosperity and success in your gift of life you have given us, God. God, you came so that we may have life and that we may have life more abundantly. Grant us, Lord, that abundant life. Let our lives be pleasing to you in all ways and in all things, so that we will be able to receive the fullness of your blessings, both in this life and in the life to come. Amen. That's the Soul of Your Money, heard each Sunday at sunrise. Bible-based money moves and inspiration. I'm JB Bryan, the creator of AfroEconomics, a strategic financial management program developed for the advancement of Black wealth in America and abroad. Check out AfroEconomics.com.